Lieutenant Colonel Ethan Caldwell gripped the stick of his F-16, the roar of the jet's engine vibrating through his bones as he soared over the Nevada desert. The 89th Fighter Squadron was conducting a high-stakes training exercise, simulating a dogfight against a rival squadron. Ethan, a seasoned pilot with over a decade of experience, led his wingmen, Captains Riley Harper and Noah Bennett, in a tight formation. Their mission: engage the enemy F-16s from the 77th Squadron, led by the arrogant Major Lucas Grayson. Grayson, known for his ruthless tactics and questionable ethics, had a reputation for bending rules to win. Ethan had clashed with him before during a promotion board where Grayson's charm outshone Ethan's merits, costing him a deserved advancement. The sting of that betrayal fueled Ethan's focus today. The radio crackled with Grayson's voice, taunting, Caldwell ready to lose again. Ethan ignored it, scanning the horizon. His radar pinged enemy jets at 2 o'clock. He ordered Riley and Noah to climb, preparing to dive on the 77th's formation. The exercise allowed simulated weapons, but live maneuvers demanded precision. Ethan's heart raced as he locked onto a target, his thumb hovering over the trigger. Suddenly, a glint caught his eye: a sleek, red, white and blue F-16, unmistakable as a Thunderbird from the Air Force's elite demonstration team, the 89th. It wasn't supposed to be here. Ethan hesitated, his instincts screaming something was off. Grayson's voice boomed again, ordering his squadron to engage. Missiles were fired in simulation, but Ethan's gut told him to hold back. He radioed his team to stand down, breaking protocol. Grayson's jets pressed forward, oblivious to the Thunderbird weaving through the training zone. Ethan's mind raced. A collision could be catastrophic, even in a drill. He banked hard, signaling Riley and Noah to follow. The Thunderbird pilot, unaware of the exercise, was on a routine test flight. Ethan's quick thinking avoided disaster, but Grayson's reckless push had nearly caused a real incident. Back at Nellie's Air Force Base, Ethan stormed into the debriefing room, confronting Grayson. "You saw that Thunderbird and still engaged," he accused. Grayson smirked, dismissing it as just a drill. Ethan's fists clenched, but he held back, knowing a formal complaint would be buried by Grayson's connections. Instead, he vowed to outmaneuver him differently. Over the next week, Ethan quietly gathered data from the exercise: radar logs, radio transcripts, and witness statements from Riley and Noah. He discovered Grayson had ignored a pre-flight briefing about the Thunderbird's schedule, prioritizing victory over safety. Ethan's sense of justice burned. He wasn't just fighting for himself, but for every pilot under Grayson's command who'd been endangered by his ego. With the evidence compiled, Ethan prepared to take it to the base commander, knowing this could either end Grayson's reign or backfire spectacularly. The stakes were high, but Ethan was ready to fight for what was right. Ethan's evidence sat heavy in his flight bag as he walked toward the base commander's office at Nellie's. The Nevada sun beat down, mirroring the heat of his resolve. He'd spent sleepless nights analyzing the radar logs, confirming Grayson's negligence. The Thunderbird's presence was clearly noted in the briefing Grayson skipped, too busy schmoozing with higher-ups. Ethan's wingmen, Riley and Noah, had agreed to back him, though Riley worried about repercussions. Grayson's got friends in high places, she warned. Ethan nodded but pressed on. He'd seen too many pilots suffer under Grayson's reckless leadership. Last year, a rookie nearly crashed after Grayson pushed him beyond his limits in a similar drill. Ethan couldn't let that slide again. In the commander's office, Colonel Ava Mitchell listened intently as Ethan presented his case. Her sharp eyes scanned the logs, her face unreadable. "These are serious accusations, Caldwell," she said. "Grayson's record is strong." Ethan held her gaze. "His record is built on cutting corners, ma'am. That Thunderbird could have been a real casualty." Mitchell promised a review but warned Ethan to stay quiet until then. Back at the squadron, Grayson's smug attitude grated. He bragged about dominating the exercise, unaware of Ethan's moves. Ethan kept his head down, focusing on his duties while discreetly rallying support. Noah, loyal but cautious, helped Ethan dig deeper, uncovering a pattern of Grayson's rule-bending in past exercises. They found a maintenance log showing Grayson once flew an F-16 with a known hydraulic issue, risking the jet and pilot. Ethan's anger grew, but he channeled it into strategy. He reached out to a retired pilot, Major Owen Carter, who'd clashed with Grayson years ago. Over coffee, Owen shared how Grayson had sabotaged his career by spreading false rumors about his flight performance. "He's a snake, Ethan," Owen said. "But he's slippery. You need airtight proof." Ethan took the advice to heart, cross-referencing every document. Days later, Riley intercepted a rumor. Grayson was angling for a promotion to lieutenant colonel, using his flawless exercise record as leverage. Ethan realized the timing was critical. If Grayson got promoted, his influence would shield him from accountability. Ethan met with Colonel Mitchell again, presenting the expanded evidence, including Owen's testimony. Mitchell's expression softened slightly. "This could ruin careers, Caldwell, yours included," she said. Ethan swallowed hard but stood firm. "It's about safety, ma'am, and fairness." Mitchell dismissed him, promising a decision soon. As Ethan left, he caught Grayson's eye in the hall. The major's smirk faltered, sensing something was up. Ethan kept his face neutral, but inside he felt a spark of hope. The commander's review could expose Grayson's negligence, but Ethan knew Grayson wouldn't go down without a fight. He prepared for the fallout, knowing this was just the beginning of a battle that would test his resolve, his career, and the loyalty of those around him. The Nellis Air Force Base buzzed with tension as the investigation into Grayson's actions began. Ethan kept his routine airtight: flight drills, briefings, and mentoring younger pilots to avoid suspicion. Grayson, however, seemed unfazed, strutting through the hangar with his usual swagger. Ethan overheard him joking with his loyalists about teaching Caldwell a lesson. It stung, but Ethan stayed focused. He'd learned from Owen that Grayson had a knack for turning accusations back on his critics. Ethan wasn't about to let that happen. He spent evenings poring over regulations, ensuring his complaint was bulletproof. Riley, ever the skeptic, warned him again about Grayson's pull with the brass. "He's already spinning this as your jealousy," she said. Ethan nodded, but his resolve didn't waver. He'd seen the near miss with the Thunderbird replay in his mind. Grayson's jet streaking toward it, ignoring Ethan's stand-down order. That moment wasn't about ego. It was about lives. Noah, meanwhile, uncovered a damning email from Grayson to a maintenance chief, pressuring him to clear a jet with a faulty radar for the exercise. Ethan added it to his dossier, his confidence growing. The base commander, Colonel Mitchell, called a closed-door meeting with Ethan, Grayson, and their squadron leaders. Grayson's charm was on full display, his voice smooth as he downplayed the incident. "It was a drill, ma'am. No harm done," he said, flashing a grin. Ethan's blood boiled, but he kept his cool, presenting the radar logs and email. Grayson's smile faded as Mitchell's questions grew sharper. "Major, why wasn't the Thunderbird's flight path acknowledged?" she pressed. Grayson stammered, blaming a miscommunication. Ethan seized the moment, calmly laying out the pattern of Grayson's negligence. The room went silent. Mitchell adjourned the meeting, her face stern. Outside, Grayson cornered Ethan. "You're done here, Caldwell," he hissed. Ethan met his gaze. "We'll see." Days later, whispers spread. Grayson was under scrutiny, but he was fighting back, claiming Ethan falsified logs to sabotage him. The accusation stung, but Ethan had anticipated it. He'd kept digital backups and had Riley and Noah corroborate every detail. A junior pilot, Lieutenant Mia Torres, approached Ethan privately. She'd overheard Grayson pressuring another pilot to back his story. "I'll testify," Mia said, her voice shaking but firm. Ethan was grateful but worried. Grayson's allies could make her life hell. He coached her on documenting everything, just as Owen had advised him. The investigation dragged on, testing Ethan's patience. He noticed Grayson's loyalists giving him cold stares, and rumors of his disloyalty spread. But support grew too. Mia, Riley, Noah, and even a few maintenance crew members quietly backed him. Ethan felt the weight of their trust. As the commander's decision loomed, Ethan prepared for any outcome. Grayson's career might survive, but Ethan was determined to expose the truth, no matter the cost. The desert sun set over Nellies, casting long shadows, much like the uncertainty over Ethan's future. Colonel Mitchell's office was a fortress of silence as Ethan waited for her verdict. The investigation had stretched into weeks, and the base felt like a powder keg. Grayson's allies spread rumors that Ethan was a troublemaker, jealous of Grayson's success. Ethan ignored the noise, focusing on his duties, but the strain was evident in his tired eyes. Riley and Noah stuck by him, their loyalty unwavering despite the whispers. Mia, the junior pilot, had formally submitted her testimony, detailing Grayson's attempt to coerce others into lying. Her courage bolstered Ethan's resolve, but he worried about her exposure to Grayson's wrath. Mitchell finally summoned Ethan and Grayson separately. In her office, she laid out the findings. The radar logs, emails, and witness statements confirmed Grayson's negligence. Major Grayson will face a formal reprimand and a grounding pending further review, she said. Ethan's heart lifted, but Mitchell's next words sobered him. Your actions, Lieutenant Colonel, were reckless too. Breaking protocol to stand down could have escalated the situation. Ethan nodded, accepting the rebuke. He'd known the risk but prioritized safety. Grayson's punishment wasn't enough. Ethan wanted him stripped of command, but it was a start. Back in the squadron, Grayson's demeanor shifted. His charm was gone, replaced by a cold fury. He avoided Ethan but spread subtle barbs through his loyalists, painting Ethan as a snitch. The division in the squadron grew, with some pilots siding with Ethan for his stand, others resenting him for rocking the boat. Mia faced the worst of it, snide comments and extra duties from Grayson's cronies. Ethan checked in with her daily, offering support. You did the right thing, he told her. She smiled weakly but stood firm. Over beers one night, Noah admitted he'd been approached by Grayson's allies, offering perks to switch sides. I told them to shove it, he said, grinning. Ethan clapped his shoulder, grateful. The victory felt hollow, though. Grayson's reprimand didn't undo the years of favoritism or the near miss with the Thunderbird. Ethan began mentoring Mia and other young pilots, emphasizing safety and integrity over glory. He also reached out to Owen, thanking him for his guidance. Owen warned him, Grayson's not done, watch your back. Sure enough, Grayson filed a counter-complaint accusing Ethan of insubordination. It was a weak move, but it kept the tension alive. Ethan doubled down, ensuring every flight he led was by the book, earning respect from newer pilots. One evening, Riley pulled Ethan aside. Mitchell's considering you for a leadership role in the 89th, she whispered. Ethan was stunned. The Thunderbird incident had showcased his judgment, catching the commander's eye. But Grayson's counter-complaint loomed, threatening his chances. As Ethan prepared for his next flight, he felt the weight of his choices. He'd exposed a dangerous leader, but the fight wasn't over. The desert sky stretched wide above Nellie's, a reminder of the battles still to come, both in the air and on the ground. Ethan climbed into his F-16, the cockpit a familiar sanctuary despite the turmoil on the ground. The Nevada sky was clear, perfect for the day's training sortie. Colonel Mitchell's decision to reprimand Grayson had rippled through the 89th Squadron, but Grayson's counter-complaint kept Ethan on edge. He focused on the mission, a simulated strike with Riley and Noah. As they soared over the desert, Ethan's mind drifted to Mia. She'd been assigned extra paperwork by one of Grayson's allies, a clear attempt to wear her down. Ethan had reported it to Mitchell, who promised to monitor the situation. In the air, Ethan's precision was unmatched, guiding his wingmen through complex maneuvers. Post-flight, Noah grinned. "You made that look easy, boss." Ethan smiled, but his thoughts were on the bigger fight. Back at base, he met with Mia, who looked exhausted but determined. "They're trying to break me," she admitted. Ethan shared his own struggles with Grayson's tactics, reassuring her, "You're tougher than they think." He advised her to keep a log of every incident, building a case if needed. Later, Ethan learned Grayson's counter-complaint had been dismissed for lack of evidence, a small victory. But Grayson wasn't done. He started cozying up to a visiting general, likely angling to salvage his reputation. Ethan saw through it. Grayson's charm offensive was a desperate bid to shift focus. Ethan decided to counter by strengthening his own standing. He volunteered to lead a safety seminar, using the Thunderbird incident as a case study without nomming Grayson. The seminar drew praise from younger pilots, and even Colonel Mitchell attended, nodding approvingly. Ethan's leadership shone, but he felt the pressure of Grayson's lingering influence. Riley reported that Grayson was spreading new rumors, claiming Ethan's safety push was a cover for incompetence. Ethan laughed it off but felt the sting. He confided in Owen, who suggested a bold move: request a transfer to the Thunderbirds. "You've got the skills, and it'd get you out of Grayson's crosshairs," Owen said. Ethan considered it, imagining the prestige of flying with the elite team. But leaving meant abandoning Mia, Riley, and Noah to Grayson's games. He wasn't ready to run. Instead, he focused on mentoring, helping Mia navigate the harassment. She began excelling in her flights, earning respect despite the pushback. One evening, Colonel Mitchell called Ethan in. "Your seminar was impressive," she said. "I'm recommending you for a leadership course at Maxwell AFB. It could fast-track you to command." Ethan's heart raced. This was the break he'd been denied when Grayson outshined him. But Mitchell warned, Grayson still got allies. Stay sharp. As Ethan left her office, he saw Grayson in the distance, laughing with his cronies. The Major's eyes locked on Ethan's, a silent challenge. Ethan held his gaze, feeling a surge of determination. He fought for justice and won a round, but Grayson's next move was coming. Ethan was ready to face it, knowing the sky and the truth were on his side. Ethan's days were a blur of flight missions and navigating the base's politics. The leadership course at Maxwell AFB loomed as a chance to rise above Grayson's shadow, but Ethan knew he had to stay vigilant. Grayson's charm offensive with the visiting general was gaining traction, and whispers of his potential transfer to a cushy Pentagon post circulated. Ethan couldn't let him slither away unaccountable. He doubled down on his duties, leading flawless sorties and mentoring Mia, who was blossoming into a confident pilot despite the harassment from Grayson's allies. One morning, during a pre-flight briefing, Ethan noticed a discrepancy in the maintenance logs for Grayson's jet. The same radar issue from the Thunderbird incident had been flagged but cleared without proper inspection. Ethan's pulse quickened. This was another piece of evidence. He discreetly alerted the maintenance chief, Sergeant Hannah Brooks, who confirmed the oversight. Grayson leaned on me to sign it off, she admitted, guilt in her eyes. Ethan assured her she'd done nothing wrong and asked her to document it. Hannah's statement could be the final nail in Grayson's coffin. At the mess hall, Riley shared troubling news. Grayson had been seen meeting with a colonel from the Inspector General's office, likely trying to preempt Ethan's efforts. "He's playing dirty," Riley said. Ethan nodded, unsurprised. He reached out to Owen, who suggested looping in a trusted contact at the Inspector General's office. Ethan hesitated. Going over Mitchell's head could backfire, but Owen insisted. "Grayson's banking on you playing nice." Ethan made the call, sharing his evidence with Captain Liam Foster, a former classmate with a reputation for fairness. Liam promised to escalate it discreetly. Days later, during a routine flight, Ethan's radio crackled with an urgent message. A safety audit was underway, triggered by an anonymous tip. Ethan's heart sank, wondering if Grayson had flipped the script. Back at base, Colonel Mitchell pulled him aside. "The audit's targeting maintenance records," she said, her tone neutral. Ethan realized his call to Liam had sparked this. He confessed his actions, expecting a reprimand, but Mitchell's eyes softened. "You're bold, Caldwell. Lucky for you, it's paying off." The audit uncovered multiple instances of Grayson pressuring maintenance crews, including Hannah's case. Grayson was called before a review board, his charm useless against hard evidence. Ethan watched from a distance as Grayson's confident facade cracked. The board recommended his demotion and transfer to a non-flying role. Ethan felt a surge of relief, but it was bittersweet. Mia and others had endured too much. That evening, Ethan gathered Riley, Noah, and Mia for drinks off base. "To justice," Noah toasted. Mia smiled, her resilience shining. Ethan knew the victory wasn't just his. It belonged to everyone who'd stood up to Grayson. As they laughed under the desert stars, Ethan felt a weight lift. The leadership course awaited, and with Grayson sidelined, Ethan could focus on his future, knowing he'd fought for what was right. The news of Grayson's demotion spread like wildfire through Nellie's. Ethan sensed a shift in the squadron. Pilots who'd once avoided him now offered nods of respect. Mia, free from the worst of the harassment, threw herself into her training, her confidence soaring. Riley and Noah teased Ethan about his hero status, but he brushed it off. The victory felt good, but he knew the Air Force wasn't a fairy tale. Grayson's allies still lingered, and Ethan's push for justice had made him a target. He focused on preparing for the Maxwell leadership course, determined to prove himself. One afternoon, Sergeant Hannah Brooks approached Ethan in the hangar. "I owe you," she said, her voice steady. "You gave me the courage to speak up." Ethan shook his head. "You did that yourself." Hannah's testimony had been crucial, exposing Grayson's pattern of coercion. She'd even uncovered another incident. Grayson had once overridden a safety check, nearly causing a mid-air collision during a night exercise. Ethan encouraged her to share it with the review board, strengthening the case against Grayson. Meanwhile, Colonel Mitchell called Ethan for a follow-up. "The audit's done," she said. Grayson's out of the 89th, reassigned to a desk job at Lackland. Ethan exhaled, relief washing over him. Mitchell continued, "Your leadership course starts in 2 weeks. Don't let this define you." Ethan nodded, grateful but wary. Grayson's allies might still retaliate. Back at the squadron, Ethan noticed subtle pushback. A maintenance report he'd requested was misplaced, and a junior officer, Lieutenant Dylan Reed, hinted that Grayson's friends were spreading rumors about Ethan's overzealous reporting. Ethan confronted Dylan, who admitted he'd been pressured to undermine Ethan. "I didn't sign up for this," Dylan said, ashamed. Ethan saw an opportunity. He mentored Dylan, showing him the importance of integrity over loyalty to a toxic leader. The leadership course loomed, but Ethan's focus remained on his team. He organized a training session, emphasizing safety protocols inspired by the Thunderbird incident. Mia led a segment, her poise impressing everyone. Riley whispered to Ethan, "She's your legacy." Ethan smiled, proud but grounded. He knew Grayson's downfall didn't erase the culture of favoritism in the Air Force. He'd have to keep fighting it, one pilot at a time. That night, Ethan called Owen, updating him. Owen chuckled. "You stirred the hornet's nest and came out clean. Not bad." Ethan laughed, but Owen's warning about Grayson's allies stuck with him. As he packed for Maxwell, Ethan found a note from Mia. "Thanks for showing me how to stand tall." His resolve hardened. Grayson was gone, but the fight for a better squadron wasn't over. The desert sky glowed orange as Ethan drove off base, ready for the next chapter. He'd exposed a dangerous leader and protected his team. Now he'd prove he could lead, not just in the cockpit, but wherever the Air Force took him. Ethan arrived at Maxwell AFB in Alabama, the humid air a stark contrast to Nevada's dry heat. The leadership course was intense, packed with seasoned officers from across the Air Force. Ethan felt the weight of his recent battle with Grayson, but Colonel Mitchell's recommendation gave him confidence. His classmates, like Major Olivia Grant, were sharp and ambitious, pushing Ethan to refine his skills. During a group exercise on ethical decision-making, Ethan shared the Thunderbird incident, omitting names but emphasizing safety over ego. Olivia nodded approvingly. "That's real leadership," she said. Ethan felt validated, but Grayson's shadow lingered. Rumors of his troublemaking had reached Maxwell. Ethan focused on excelling, acing simulations, and earning praise from instructors. Back at Nellie's, Riley kept him updated. Grayson's allies were quieter, but tensions remained. Mia was thriving, leading her first solo sortie with precision. Noah reported that Dylan, the junior officer Ethan had mentored, was stepping up, resisting pressure from Grayson's old crew. Ethan smiled, proud of his team's resilience. One evening during a break at Maxwell, Ethan got a call from Captain Liam Foster, his contact at the Inspector General's office. "Grayson's appealing his demotion," Liam warned. "He's claiming you fabricated evidence." Ethan's stomach dropped. He'd anticipated Grayson's desperation, but this was bold. Liam assured him the appeal was weak. The audit's findings were ironclad. but Ethan knew Grayson's charm could sway opinions. He sent Liam copies of his backups, including Hannah's testimony and the maintenance logs. The course demanded Ethan's focus, but Grayson's appeal gnawed at him. During a late-night study session, Olivia noticed his distraction. "You're carrying something heavy," she said. Ethan opened up about the Nellies' drama, and Olivia shared her own story of clashing with a toxic commander. "Keep your eyes on the mission," she advised. Ethan took it to heart, channeling his energy into the course. He led a mock crisis scenario, earning top marks for his calm decisiveness. As the course neared its end, Ethan got word from Liam. Grayson's appeal had been denied. The review board cited overwhelming evidence, including new testimony from a maintenance tech who'd been coerced by Grayson years ago. Ethan exhaled, the weight lifting slightly. Back at Nellie's, Mia sent a photo of the squadron celebrating her solo flight, with a banner reading "Caldwell's Crew." Ethan laughed, touched by their loyalty. The course ended with Ethan graduating in the top percentile. Colonel Mitchell called to congratulate him, hinting at a potential command role in the 89th. Ethan returned to Nellie's, greeted by Riley, Noah, and Mia. The squadron felt different, more cohesive, less toxic. Grayson's absence was a relief, but Ethan knew the fight for integrity was ongoing. As he prepped for his next flight, the desert sky stretched endless above him. Ethan felt ready, not just to fly, but to lead, knowing he'd already changed the 89th for the better. The Nellies' flight line hummed with activity as Ethan prepped for his first mission since returning from Maxwell. The leadership course had sharpened his instincts, and Colonel Mitchell's hint about a command role fueled his drive. The 89th Squadron was healing, but scars from Grayson's tenure remained. Ethan noticed fewer cold stares, and even some of Grayson's former allies, like Lieutenant Dylan Reed, were warming to him. Ethan took it as a sign of progress. During a briefing, he laid out a new training plan, emphasizing safety and teamwork, inspired by the Thunderbird incident. Mia, now a standout pilot, assisted, her confidence a testament to Ethan's mentorship. Riley and Noah backed him fully, their loyalty unwavering, but trouble brewed. A maintenance tech, Sergeant Caleb Morgan, approached Ethan with a concern. A jet Grayson had flown before his transfer showed signs of wear that hadn't been reported. Ethan's jaw tightened, another of Grayson's oversights. He and Caleb reviewed the jet's history, finding shoddy repairs dating back months. Ethan reported it to Colonel Mitchell, who ordered a full inspection of Grayson's former aircraft. The findings were damning. Multiple jets had been cleared despite minor but dangerous issues. Mitchell commended Ethan's vigilance but cautioned him. "You're making enemies," she said. Ethan nodded, undeterred. He'd rather face pushback than risk lives. At the mess hall, Dylan confided that some pilots still resented Ethan, blaming him for Grayson's downfall. "They think you're gunning for everyone," Dylan said. Ethan saw an opportunity to rebuild trust. He invited the skeptics to a candid Q&A, addressing their concerns head-on. "I'm not here to tear anyone down," he said. "I'm here to keep us safe." Some nodded, others remained guarded, but Ethan felt the tide shifting. Mia, meanwhile, faced a new challenge. A promotion board where one of Grayson's old allies, Major Ethan Walsh, sat as a panelist. Ethan coached her, sharing strategies from his own battles. "Show them your skill, not your fear," he said. Mia aced the board, earning her promotion to first lieutenant. The squadron celebrated, and Ethan felt a surge of pride. That night, Riley shared a rumor. Grayson was lobbying for a return to Nellie's, claiming he'd been unfairly targeted. Ethan wasn't surprised. Grayson's ego wouldn't quit. He reached out to Liam Foster, who confirmed Grayson's efforts were gaining little traction. Still, Ethan prepared for the possibility, ensuring every maintenance report and flight log was meticulous. As he climbed into his F-16 for a night sortie, the stars above Nellie's gleamed. Ethan reflected on his journey, from the Thunderbird near-miss to Grayson's demotion, to his own rise as a leader. The squadron was stronger, but the fight for integrity was relentless. Ethan banked his jet, the desert below a dark canvas. He was ready for whatever came next, knowing he'd built a team that could weather any storm, in the air or on the ground. Ethan's F-16 roared through the Nevada night, the glow of instruments illuminating his focused expression. The sortie was flawless, a testament to the 89th's renewed discipline. Back at base, Ethan debriefed his team, praising Mia's sharp navigation and Noah's steady wing work. Riley lingered after, her face serious. "Grayson's been seen at the Pentagon," she said. "He's pushing hard to overturn his transfer." Ethan's stomach tightened. Grayson's persistence was no surprise, but his audacity was infuriating. Ethan thanked Riley and called Liam Foster, who confirmed Grayson was leveraging old connections, claiming Ethan's vendetta had ruined him. Liam assured Ethan the evidence was too strong for Grayson to win, but Ethan wasn't taking chances. He met with Colonel Mitchell, sharing the update. Mitchell's eyes narrowed. "He's a long shot, but he's dangerous. Keep your squadron tight." Ethan nodded, doubling down on transparency. He held daily briefings, ensuring every pilot and tech knew their role in maintaining safety. Sergeant Caleb Morgan, the tech who'd flagged Grayson's jet issues, became a key ally, meticulously documenting maintenance records. Ethan also mentored Dylan, who was slowly shedding his loyalty to Grayson's camp. During a training flight, Ethan noticed Dylan's improved precision, a sign of his growing trust. Off-duty, Ethan bonded with his team over coffee, sharing stories of past missions. Mia opened up about her fear of Grayson's allies retaliating. Ethan reassured her, "You've got us." The camaraderie strengthened the squadron, but Ethan knew Grayson's return could unravel it. A week later, Liam called with news. Grayson's appeal had been rejected again, but he'd secured a temporary advisory role at Nellie's, starting next month. Ethan's heart sank. Grayson back on base, even in a desk job, was trouble. He strategized with Riley and Noah, who suggested rallying the squadron to show unity. Ethan organized a team-building exercise, a mock dogfight that showcased their cohesion. Even skeptical pilots joined in, impressed by Ethan's leadership. Mia shone, outmaneuvering veterans, earning cheers. After, Ethan overheard Major Walsh, Grayson's ally, muttering about Caldwell's cult. Ethan ignored it, focusing on his team's morale. Colonel Mitchell attended the exercise, later pulling Ethan aside. "You're proving yourself," she said. "I'm recommending you for command of the 89th. Ethan was floored. Command was his dream, but Grayson's return loomed. That night, Ethan found a letter slipped under his door, unsigned but clearly from Grayson's camp. "Back off or you'll regret it." Ethan showed it to Mitchell, who launched an investigation. Fingerprints traced it to a junior officer loyal to Grayson, who faced disciplinary action. Ethan felt the pressure mounting but refused to back down. As he prepped for his next flight, the desert dawn painted the sky gold. Grayson's shadow was back, but Ethan's resolve was stronger. He built a squadron that stood for integrity, and no threat would shake that. Climbing into his F-16, Ethan knew the real battle was just beginning. The Nelly's flight line was tense as Grayson's return approached. Ethan, now a frontrunner for command of the 89th, felt the weight of his team's trust. His F-16 sorties were flawless, each maneuver a statement of his leadership. But Grayson's advisory role, though limited, gave him a foothold. Ethan heard whispers of Grayson meeting with pilots, spinning tales of his unfair demotion. Some younger officers, swayed by his charisma, wavered in their support for Ethan. He countered by doubling down on transparency, sharing maintenance and safety protocols openly. Mia, now a first lieutenant, led by example, her confidence inspiring others. Riley and Noah helped Ethan monitor Grayson's moves, reporting his attempts to undermine Ethan's command bid. One evening, Sergeant Caleb Morgan flagged another issue. A jet Grayson had flown showed signs of unreported wear in its hydraulic system. Ethan's blood boiled. Grayson's negligence was a pattern. He and Caleb documented it, presenting it to Colonel Mitchell. She acted swiftly, grounding the jet and launching a probe into Grayson's past maintenance overrides. The findings painted a grim picture. Grayson had cut corners for years, endangering pilots. Mitchell confided in Ethan. This could end his career for good. Ethan nodded, hoping it was true. Grayson, however, was relentless. He cornered Ethan in the hangar, his voice low. "You think you've won? I'm not done." Ethan stood his ground. "Your ego's the only thing crashing here." Grayson stormed off, but Ethan knew he'd strike again. The squadron rallied around Ethan, with even Dylan, once loyal to Grayson, fully committing to Ethan's vision. During a briefing, Ethan outlined a new safety initiative, earning applause from most pilots. Major Walsh, Grayson's ally, remained silent, his resentment clear. Later, Mia shared that Walsh had tried to discredit her promotion, claiming favoritism. Ethan advised her to file a formal complaint, backing her with documentation. The complaint triggered another review, weakening Walsh's influence. As Grayson's advisory role began, he tried to insert himself into briefings, but Ethan's team shut him out, citing his lack of flight status. Grayson's frustration grew, his charm failing against Ethan's evidence-based leadership. One night, Liam Foster called. The Inspector General was reviewing Grayson's entire record, spurred by Ethan's reports. "He's done," Liam said. Ethan exhaled, daring to hope. The next day, Colonel Mitchell announced Ethan's appointment as commander of the 89th. The squadron erupted in cheers, Mia's smile the brightest. Grayson's advisory role was cut short, his transfer to Lackland finalized. Ethan led his first mission as commander, the desert sky vast above his F-16. His team, Riley, Noah, Mia, Dylan, and Caleb, flew in tight formation, a symbol of their unity. Ethan knew challenges awaited, but he'd faced Grayson and won. The 89th was his to lead, built on trust and integrity, ready for whatever the skis brought next. Ethan settled into his role as commander of the 89th, the weight of responsibility grounding him. His first act was to implement a safety overhaul, inspired by the Thunderbird incident and Grayson's negligence. Every jet underwent rigorous inspections, and Ethan personally reviewed maintenance logs with Sergeant Caleb Morgan. The squadron responded well, with pilots like Mia and Dylan embracing the changes. Riley and Noah, now Ethan's trusted deputies, ensured the team stayed cohesive. But Grayson's shadow lingered. Though relegated to Lackland, he'd left behind a network of loyalists, including Major Walsh, who subtly undermined Ethan's initiatives. During a briefing, Walsh questioned Ethan's new protocols, suggesting they slowed operations. Ethan countered with data. The overhaul had already caught 3 critical maintenance errors. Walsh backed down, but his resentment simmered. Ethan knew he had to win over skeptics. He organized a series of open forums, inviting pilots and techs to voice concerns. The move paid off. Most appreciated his transparency, and even some of Grayson's former allies began to shift. Mia, thriving as a leader, proposed a mentorship program for new pilots, which Ethan greenlit. Her initiative strengthened the squadron's morale, and Ethan saw her as a future commander. One evening, Colonel Mitchell called Ethan to her office. "You're doing well," she said, "but Walsh is filing complaints claiming you're too rigid." Ethan wasn't surprised. He'd anticipated pushback and had kept meticulous records of every decision. He shared them with Mitchell, who nodded. "Keep it tight, Caldwell. You're on the right track." Back at the flight line, Ethan noticed a change. Pilots were more engaged, and maintenance crews, led by Caleb, worked with newfound pride. But trouble brewed when a junior pilot, Lieutenant Zoe Parker, reported harassment from one of Walsh's allies. Ethan acted swiftly, supporting Zoe's formal complaint and ensuring she had access to counseling. The incident reminded him of Mia's struggles, and he vowed to root out toxicity. Liam Foster called with an update. Grayson's Inspector General review was wrapping up, with recommendations for his discharge. Ethan felt a surge of relief but stayed focused. He led a high-stakes training mission, a simulated air-to-ground strike, and the 89th executed it flawlessly. Post-flight, Noah clapped Ethan's shoulder. "This is what a real squadron feels like." Ethan smiled, but Walsh's complaints still loomed. He met with Dylan, who'd become a bridge to Grayson's former loyalists. "Some are coming around," Dylan said. "They see you're fair." Ethan used this to his advantage, pairing skeptics with his strongest pilots on missions. As the desert sun set, Ethan reflected on his journey. From the Thunderbird near-miss to Grayson's downfall, he'd fought for justice and rebuilt the 89th. Walsh's resistance was a hurdle, but Ethan was ready. Climbing into his F-16 for a night sortie, he felt the squadron's strength behind him. The sky was clear, and Ethan knew he was exactly where he belonged, leading, protecting, and soaring toward a better future. The 89th Squadron soared under Ethan's command, their cohesion evident in every mission. The desert skis of Nellie's were their proving ground, and Ethan's safety reforms had slashed maintenance errors by half. Pilots like Mia, now a mentor to rookies, and Noah, a steady hand in high-pressure sorties, embodied the squadron's new spirit. Riley, ever vigilant, kept Ethan grounded, warning him about Major Walsh's latest move, a petition to review Ethan's command, claiming he stifled innovation. Ethan saw it for what it was, Walsh's last stand to preserve Grayson's legacy. He met with Colonel Mitchell, presenting data on the squadron's improved performance. "Walsh's petition is weak," Mitchell said, "but he's got a few ears. Neutralize it." Ethan nodded, strategizing. He invited Walsh to a one-on-one, hopping to bridge the gap. In the hangar, Walsh was defensive, accusing Ethan of targeting Grayson's allies. Ethan stayed calm. "I'm targeting negligence, not people. Join us or you're choosing the wrong side." Walsh scoffed but seemed rattled. Ethan followed up by showcasing the squadron's success in a base-wide briefing, earning praise from visiting brass. Walsh's petition fizzled as pilots, including Dylan, publicly backed Ethan. Meanwhile, Zoe Parker's harassment case gained traction. The officer involved, a Walsh loyalist, faced disciplinary action, further eroding Walsh's influence. Ethan supported Zoe, ensuring she felt safe to fly. Her gratitude strengthened his resolve. Liam Foster called with final news: Grayson's discharge was approved. His career was over, a direct result of Ethan's evidence. The squadron celebrated quietly, with Mia toasting to clean skis. But Ethan knew Walsh was still a threat. He tasked Caleb with auditing Walsh's past maintenance approvals, uncovering sloppy work that mirrored Grayson's. Ethan presented it to Mitchell, who suspended Walsh pending review. The squadron rallied, with even former skeptics like Lieutenant Zoe Parker stepping up. During a night sortie, Ethan led a complex formation, the 89th moving as one. Post-flight, Riley grinned. "You've changed this place." Ethan shrugged, humble but proud. He'd turned a toxic squadron into a model of integrity. Walsh's suspension left a void, and Ethan recommended Mia for a leadership role, her growth a testament to his mentorship. As he prepped for a dawn patrol, Ethan got a call from Owen, his old mentor. "You did what I couldn't," Owen said. "Grayson's gone and you're the real deal." Ethan thanked him, feeling the weight of his journey. From the Thunderbird near-miss to Grayson's defeat, he'd fought for what was right. Now, with Walsh sidelined and the 89th thriving, Ethan felt a rare peace. Climbing into his F-16, he looked at his team. Riley, Noah, Mia, Dylan, Zoe, Caleb, knowing they were his legacy. The desert horizon glowed, and Ethan pushed the throttle, soaring into the sky. The 89th was his, built on trust and justice, ready to face any challenge under his command. Ethan's command of the 89th felt like a well-oiled machine, each mission showcasing the squadron's discipline and unity. The desert sun blazed as he led a dawn sortie, his F-16 slicing through the sky alongside Mia, Noah, and Riley. Their precision was unmatched, a stark contrast to the chaos of Grayson's era. Major Walsh's suspension had quieted the last of Grayson's loyalists, but Ethan stayed vigilant. He knew power struggles left scars, and he was determined to keep the 89th on course. During a debrief, Mia proposed a new training module for night operations, drawing on her recent solo success. Ethan approved it, impressed by her initiative. Noah, meanwhile, flagged a minor issue in a jet, avionics, caught early thanks to Ethan's safety protocols. Sergeant Caleb Morgan's meticulous audits had become the squadron's backbone, ensuring no oversight slipped through. Ethan praised Caleb publicly, boosting morale among the maintenance crew. Off-duty, Ethan bonded with his team at a local diner, their laughter a far cry from the tension of months past. Zoe Parker, now thriving after her harassment ordeal, shared her plans to apply for a test pilot program. Ethan encouraged her, seeing echoes of his younger self. But trouble loomed. A rumor surfaced that Walsh was appealing his suspension, claiming Ethan's reforms were overly punitive. Ethan met with Colonel Mitchell, who dismissed the appeal as baseless but warned, "Walsh has a few friends left. Watch your six." Ethan nodded, familiar with the tactic. He tasked Riley with monitoring Walsh's allies, who were quieter but still active. Dylan, now fully aligned with Ethan, reported overhearing a pilot loyal to Walsh questioning Ethan's command decisions. Ethan invited the pilot, Lieutenant Connor Hayes, for a candid talk. "I'm not Grayson," Ethan said. "Speak up and I'll listen." Connor admitted his doubts but respected Ethan's openness, agreeing to give him a chance. The squadron's next mission was a high-profile joint exercise with the Thunderbirds, a nod to Ethan's role in the near-miss incident. He led with precision, earning praise from the Thunderbird commander, who hinted at a future slot for Ethan. The offer was tempting, but Ethan's heart was with the 89th. Post-mission, Mitchell called Ethan in. "Walsh's appeal is dead," she said. and you're being considered for a meritorious promotion." Ethan was stunned but stayed humble. He thanked his team, knowing their success was his strength. That night, Mia organized a squadron barbecue, a celebration of their unity. Ethan watched Riley, Noah, Zoe, Dylan, and Caleb laugh under the desert stars, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He'd turned the 89th around, rooting out toxicity and building a legacy of trust. As he prepped for his next flight, Ethan glanced at his F-16, its Firebird emblem gleaming. The sky called and he was ready, leading a squadron that soared not just in the air, but in spirit, forged by his fight for justice. The 89th Squadron's success under Ethan's command drew attention across Nelly's. Joint exercises with other squadrons showcased their precision, and Ethan's safety reforms became a model for the base. During a briefing, Colonel Mitchell praised Ethan publicly, hinting at his potential promotion to full colonel. The news electrified the squadron, with Mia, Noah, and Riley beaming with pride. Even Dylan, once skeptical, clapped Ethan on the back. But Ethan stayed focused, knowing complacency could undo their progress. He pushed the squadron harder, introducing advanced dogfight simulations to sharpen their skills. Mia excelled, her instincts rivaling Ethan, while Zoe's confidence grew, her test pilot application gaining traction. Sergeant Caleb Morgan's maintenance team caught a critical engine flaw in a jet, earning Ethan's praise and a commendation from Mitchell. Off the flight line, Ethan faced a new challenge. Walsh's final ally, Lieutenant Connor Hayes, was spreading subtle doubts about Ethan's rigid leadership. Ethan invited Connor to fly as his wingman on a high-stakes sortie, a chance to prove his trust. In the air, Connor saw Ethan's decisiveness firsthand, countering an unexpected enemy maneuver with ease. Post-flight, Connor admitted, "I was wrong about you." Ethan nodded, offering mentorship to keep him engaged. Meanwhile, Walsh's appeal was officially dead, and his transfer to a remote base was confirmed. Ethan felt relief but no triumph. Rebuilding trust was his goal, not revenge. He organized a base-wide safety symposium, inviting Caleb to present on maintenance protocols. The event drew praise, with visiting brass noting the 89th's transformation. Mitchell pulled Ethan aside after. "You're not just leading a squadron, you're changing Nelly's," she said. Ethan thanked her, but his mind was on his team. Mia's mentorship program was thriving, and Noah was training to become a flight instructor. Zoe's test pilot application was approved, a testament to Ethan's support. That night, Riley shared a rumor. The Thunderbirds were again eyeing Ethan for a slot. He considered it but knew his place was with the 89th. During a dawn sortie, Ethan led a complex formation, the Firebird emblem on his F-16 gleaming. The squadron moved as one, a far cry from Grayson's chaotic reign. Post-flight, Ethan gathered his team, thanking them for their trust. "We're not just pilots," he said. "We're a family." Mia, Noah, Zoe, Dylan, and Caleb nodded, their bond unbreakable. As Ethan prepped for his next mission, he got a call from Liam Foster. "Grayson's out of the Air Force for good," Liam said. "Your evidence sealed it." Ethan exhaled, the final weight lifting. The desert sky stretched wide as he climbed into his jet, the 89th's Unity his greatest victory. He'd faced betrayal, fought for justice, and built a squadron that soared. Pushing the throttle, Ethan felt the rush of flight, knowing he'd lead the 89th to new heights, grounded in integrity and ready for any challenge the skis brought. Ethan's leadership transformed the 89th into Nellie's flagship squadron. Their latest joint exercise with the Thunderbirds drew national attention, with the Firebird emblem becoming a symbol of excellence. Colonel Mitchell's recommendation for Ethan's promotion to full colonel gained traction, and whispers of a Pentagon assignment surfaced. Ethan stayed grounded, focusing on his team. Mia, now a mentor to a dozen rookies, was being scouted for a leadership role in another squadron. Noah's flight instructor training was nearly complete, and Zoe was preparing for her test pilot program. Sergeant Caleb Morgan's maintenance team set a base record for 0 discrepancies in inspections. Even Dylan, once swayed by Grayson's allies, was now a vocal advocate for Ethan's vision. But challenges persisted. A new officer, Major Lauren Pierce, arrived from another base, rumored to be skeptical of Ethan's reforms. She questioned his strict safety protocols during a briefing, citing efficiency concerns. Ethan listened, then invited her to observe a sortie. In the air, he demonstrated how his protocols caught a subtle avionics glitch mid-flight, saving the jet. Lauren conceded, impressed, and began aligning with Ethan's approach. Off-duty, Ethan strengthened his team's bond with a hiking trip in the Nevada mountains. Riley shared stories of her early days as a pilot, while Mia inspired Zoe with tales of overcoming doubt. Dylan admitted he once envied Grayson's charisma but now saw Ethan's integrity as true leadership. Caleb, usually quiet, opened up about his pride in the squadron's turnaround. Back at base, Ethan faced a new test, a high-profile audit ordered by the Pentagon to evaluate Nellie's readiness. The 89th was under scrutiny, and Ethan knew any misstep could derail his promotion. He rallied his team, emphasizing precision. During the audit, Mia led a flawless dogfight simulation while Caleb's maintenance logs were pristine. The auditors praised the 89th, calling it a model unit. Mitchell beamed, whispering to Ethan, "This is your doing." That night, Ethan got a call from Owen, his old mentor. "You've outdone me," Owen said. "The 89th's a legend now." Ethan thanked him, crediting his team. The next day, Lauren approached Ethan, apologizing for her initial skepticism. "I see why they trust you," she said. Ethan offered her a role in his safety initiative, cementing her loyalty. As the Pentagon's decision on his promotion neared, Ethan led a night sortie, the desert stars bright above. The 89th flew in perfect sync, their Firebird emblems gleaming. Post-flight, Riley handed Ethan a letter from the squadron signed by all. "To our commander who fought for us." Ethan's throat tightened. He'd faced Grayson's betrayal, Walsh's resistance, and endless challenges, but his team's trust was his true reward. Climbing into his F-16 for the next mission, Ethan knew the 89th was more than a squadron. It was a legacy of integrity, soaring under his command into a future as vast as the Nevada sky. The Pentagon's audit cemented the 89th's reputation as Nellie's finest, and Ethan's promotion to full colonel was confirmed. The news hit the squadron like a thunderclap, with Mia, Noah, Riley, Zoe, Dylan, and Caleb leading a raucous celebration in the hangar. The Firebird emblem on their jets seemed to shine brighter, a symbol of their unity. Ethan, humbled, thanked his team, crediting their hard work. Colonel Mitchell hosted a formal ceremony, pinning Ethan's new rank in front of the base. "You've redefined leadership," she said, her voice carrying weight. Ethan felt the gravity of her words but stayed focused on the 89th's future. Major Lauren Pierce, now a firm ally, took on a key role in Ethan's safety initiative, streamlining processes without compromising standards. Mia's mentorship program was adopted base-wide, and Noah earned his flight instructor wings, training the next generation. Zoe left for her test pilot program, her farewell bittersweet but proud. Caleb's maintenance team won a national award, their precision unmatched. But Ethan faced a new challenge. The Pentagon assignment rumors were true. A staff role awaited, promising influence but pulling him from the cockpit. Ethan wrestled with the decision, knowing it could elevate his career but distance him from his team. He sought Riley's advice over coffee. "You've built something here," she said, "but you can shape the Air Force from D.C." Ethan nodded, torn. He flew a solo sortie to clear his mind, the desert sky a canvas for his thoughts. The Thunderbird incident, Grayson's downfall, and the 89th's transformation replayed in his mind. He fought for justice, not glory. Back at base, Ethan met with his team, sharing the Pentagon offer. Mia spoke up. "You'll carry the 89th with you," she said. Noah added, "We'll hold the line here." Their trust settled it. Ethan accepted the assignment, vowing to return. Before leaving, he led one last mission, a high-altitude strike simulation. The 89th moved like a single organism, their Firebird slicing through the clouds. Post-flight, Ethan gathered the squadron. "You're the heart of this," he told them. "Keep flying true." Tears gleamed in Mia's eyes, and even Dylan, once skeptical, saluted. As Ethan packed for D.C., Liam Foster called. "You changed the game," he said. "Grayson's allies are quiet now." Ethan smiled, knowing the 89th's culture would endure. At the airport, Riley, Noah, Mia, and Caleb saw him off, their bond unbreakable. Ethan boarded the plane, the Nevada desert fatting below. In D.C., he'd advocate for the values he'd instilled: safety, integrity, trust. The 89th was his legacy, a squadron reborn from betrayal into a force of excellence. As the plane climbed, Ethan pictured his F-16, the Firebird emblem etched in his mind. He'd return to Nellie's one day, but for now, he'd carry the 89th spirit, soaring into a new mission with the same resolve that had changed everything. Ethan's new office at the Pentagon was a world away from Nellie's flight line. The hum of bureaucracy replaced the roar of F-16s, but Ethan adapted, driven by the same principles that defined his command of the 89th. His role as a strategic advisor gave him influence over Air Force policy, particularly on safety and training protocols. He pushed for reforms inspired by the Thunderbird incident, advocating for stricter maintenance oversight and pilot accountability. His proposals, backed by data from the 89th's success, gained traction among senior leaders. Back at Nellie's, Riley kept Ethan updated. Mia had been promoted to captain, leading a new training wing with her mentorship program. Noah's flight instruction was shaping rookie pilots into stars, and Caleb's maintenance team continued to set standards. Zoe sent emails from her test pilot program, thriving under pressure. Even Dylan, now a leader in his own right, credited Ethan's influence. But DC had its challenges. Ethan clashed with a senior officer, General Victor Hayes, who favored cost-cutting over safety. Hayes, cut from the same cloth as Grayson, dismissed Ethan's reforms as overzealous. Ethan stood firm, presenting evidence from Nellie's turnaround. Hayes begrudged him but couldn't deny the results. Ethan's reputation grew, earning him a seat on a high-level safety board. Late nights in D.C., Ethan missed the cockpit. He kept a photo of the 89th's Firebird emblem on his desk, a reminder of his roots. During a video call with Riley, she shared that Major Lauren Pierce was now a key ally, implementing Ethan's protocols base-wide. "You're still with us," Riley said. Ethan smiled, grateful. A new challenge emerged. A proposed budget cut threatened pilot training hours. Ethan fought it, leveraging his Nellie's data to show how training saved lives. He recalled the Thunderbird near miss, using it to sway skeptics. The board voted to preserve funding, a win Ethan dedicated to the 89th. On a rare trip back to Nellie's, Ethan reunited with his team. Mia, Noah, Caleb, and Lauren greeted him like family. They flew a ceremonial sortie, Ethan in his F-16, the Firebird gleaming. The desert sky felt like home, the squadron's unity a testament to his legacy. Mitchell, now a mentor, hinted at a future command role if Ethan returned. Back in D.C., Ethan faced Hayes again, who tried to undermine his reforms. Ethan countered with hard evidence, earning allies among younger officers. One evening, Mia sent a video of the 89th's latest exercise, their precision flawless. Ethan's chest swelled with pride. He'd transformed a squadron, defeated Grayson's toxicity, and now shaped Air Force policy. As he worked late, drafting a new safety directive, Ethan glanced at the Firebird photo. The 89th spirit fueled him, a reminder that his fight for integrity was far from over. In the quiet Pentagon office, Ethan knew he was where he needed to be, carrying his squadron's values into the heart of the Air Force. Ethan's influence in the Pentagon grew, his safety reforms gaining traction across Air Force bases. His data-driven approach, rooted in the 89th's transformation, earned him respect, though General Victor Hayes remained a thorn. Hayes pushed for streamlined operations, arguing Ethan's protocols slowed readiness. Ethan countered with evidence. The 89th's zero-accident streak since his reforms. During a heated board meeting, Ethan presented a case study on the Thunderbird incident, showing how negligence nearly cost lives. Hayes scoffed, but other generals nodded, swayed by Ethan's clarity. The board approved expanding his protocols to 5 more bases. Back at Nellie's, Riley sent updates. Mia's training wing was producing top-tier pilots, and NOAA's instruction methods were being studied for broader adoption. Caleb's maintenance team won another award, and Lauren was now deputy commander, carrying Ethan's torch. Zoe, thriving as a test pilot, credited Ethan's mentorship in a heartfelt letter. Ethan kept their Firebird emblem on his desk, a daily reminder of his roots. But DC tested him. Hayes tried to sideline Ethan by assigning him to a low-profile logistics project. Ethan saw through it, a move to diminish his influence. He turned the project into a platform, integrating safety checks into logistics, earning praise from unexpected allies. Hayes's frustration grew, but Ethan stayed focused. He mentored younger officers like Captain Ava Larson, who shared his passion for reform. Ava's sharp mind reminded Ethan of Mia, and he guided her through Pentagon politics. On a trip to Nellie's for a safety conference, Ethan flew with the 89th, his F-16 soaring alongside Mia and Noah. The desert sky was electric, the squadron's unity palpable. Post-flight, Lauren shared that Walsh's last allies had left, the 89th fully Ethan. Mitchell hinted at a future Nellie's command if Ethan wanted it. Back in D.C., Ethan faced a new challenge, a proposed merger of training programs that risked diluting his reforms. He rallied Ava and other allies, presenting a counter-proposal that preserved safety standards. The board sided with Ethan, dealing Hayes another blow. That night, Riley called with news. The 89th was invited to perform with the Thunderbirds at an international air show. "Your legacy," she said. Ethan grinned, picturing the Firebird emblem soaring. He worked late, refining a policy to standardize maintenance audits Air Force-wide. Hayes tried one last jab, spreading rumors of Ethan's inflexibility. But Ava's growing influence shut it down. Ethan's reforms were now policy, saving lives beyond Nellie's. As he left his office, the Firebird photo caught his eye. He fought Grayson, transformed the 89th, and now shaped the Air Force. The Pentagon's sterile halls couldn't dim his purpose. Ethan knew his team, Mia, Noah, Caleb, Zoe, Lauren, and Ava, carried his vision. Wherever he went, the 89th spirit flew with him, a testament to his fight for integrity, soaring through every challenge into a future he'd helped build. Ethan's Pentagon office buzzed with purpose as his safety reforms rolled out across Air Force bases. The 89th success was now a blueprint, with Mia's training wing and Caleb's maintenance protocols cited in briefings. General Victor Hayes, however, remained a persistent obstacle, lobbying to weaken Ethan's standards for efficiency. During a high-stakes meeting, Ethan presented data. Bases adopting his protocols saw a 30% drop in incidents. Hayes countered with budget concerns, but Ethan's evidence won over the room. The Air Force Chief of Staff greenlit Ethan's plan for nationwide adoption. Back at Nellie's, Riley reported the 89th's airshow with the Thunderbirds was a triumph, their Firebird emblems dazzling crowds. Mia, now a rising star, was scouted for a test pilot role, while Noah's training methods were implemented at other bases. Zoe sent Ethan a photo from her test pilot program, her jet sporting a custom Firebird decal. Lauren, as deputy commander, had fully integrated Ethan's vision, and Dylan was mentoring rookies with the same integrity Ethan instilled. In D.C., Ethan mentored Captain Ava Larson, who was pushing for pilot mental health programs, inspired by Ethan's emphasis on care. But Hayes struck again, proposing a review of Ethan's promotion, claiming he'd overstepped authority. Ethan saw it as desperation but prepared a defense, compiling every reform's impact. Ava helped, her sharp analysis strengthening his case. The review board dismissed Hayes's claims, affirming Ethan's promotion and expanding his role to oversee training policy. On a Nellie's visit, Ethan flew with the 89th, their cohesion a living legacy. Post-flight, Mia thanked him for showing her how to lead. "You fought for us," she said. Ethan, moved, hugged her. Mitchell confided that Ethan was being considered for a general's star, a rare leap. Back in D.C., Ethan faced a new test, a budget crisis threatening his reforms. He rallied Ava and other allies, securing funding by highlighting lives saved. Hayes, sidelined, retired quietly, his influence gone. Ethan's policies were now Air Force doctrine, with the 89th as the gold standard. At a Pentagon ceremony, Ethan received a commendation for transforming safety culture. He dedicated it to the 89th, nomming Mia, Noah, Caleb, Zoe, Dylan, and Lauren. That night, Ava shared her own promotion, crediting Ethan's guidance. As he worked late, drafting a new training directive, Ethan glanced at the Firebird photo. The Thunderbird incident, Grayson's betrayal, and the 89th's rebirth felt like another life. He'd turned injustice into progress, building a legacy that spanned bases. The Pentagon's glow couldn't match Nellie's desert sky, but Ethan carried its spirit. A call from Riley confirmed the 89th's next airshow, with Mia leading. Ethan smiled, knowing his team soared without him. His fight for integrity had reshaped the Air Force, and as he looked to the future, perhaps a general's star, he knew the 89th's Firebird would always guide him, a beacon of trust and excellence in every sky he flew. Ethan stood at a Pentagon podium, addressing Air Force leaders on his safety reforms, now standard across all bases. The 89th's Firebird emblem was projected behind him, a symbol of his journey from the Thunderbird near-miss to systemic change. His data showed a 40% drop in incidents, silencing critics like General Hayes, who'd retired in disgrace. Ethan's promotion to brigadier general was rumored, but he stayed focused on his mission. Back at Nellie's, Riley sent a video of Mia leading the 89th at an airshow, their jets painting the sky with precision. Mia, now a test pilot candidate, credited Ethan in a base newsletter. Noah's training program was adopted Air Force-wide, and Caleb's maintenance team mentored other bases. Zoe, thriving as a test pilot, sent Ethan a Firebird patch from her jet. Lauren, now commander of the 89th, ran a tight ship, her leadership echoing Ethan. In D.C., Captain Ava Larson pushed Ethan's mental health initiative, gaining traction. Ethan mentored her through resistance from old guard officers, seeing her as his Pentagon legacy. A new challenge arose, a proposal to cut advanced training for budget reasons. Ethan fought it, using the 89th's success to argue for investment in pilots. He flew to Nellie's to gather fresh data, joining a sortie with Lauren and Dylan. The desert sky felt like home, the 89th's unity unbreakable. Post-flight, Lauren shared that a rookie pilot, inspired by Ethan's story, had reported a maintenance error, saving a jet. Ethan's reforms were saving lives daily. Back in D.C., Ethan presented his case, swaying the budget committee. Ava's mental health program was approved, a victory they celebrated over coffee. Ethan shared stories of the 89th, and Ava vowed to carry his torch. A call from Mitchell confirmed Ethan's promotion to brigadier general, effective next month. "You've changed the Air Force," she said. Ethan thanked her, crediting his team. At Nellie's for the ceremony, Ethan stood before the 89th, pinning his star as Mia, Noah, Caleb, Zoe, Dylan, and Lauren saluted. Riley whispered, "We knew you'd get here." Ethan dedicated his promotion to them, the squadron that fought with him. He flew one last F-16 sortie, the Firebird gleaming under the sun. The sky was vast, but Ethan felt grounded, his legacy etched in the 89th spirit. Back in D.C., he drafted a policy to expand pilot training, knowing Mia and Noah would benefit. Ava reported her program's first success, a pilot seeking help, stigma-free. Ethan looked at his Firebird photo, the 89th's journey alive in his heart. From Grayson's betrayal to systemic reform, he'd turned injustice into progress. The Pentagon was his new cockpit, but the 89th remained his home. As he worked late, Ethan knew his fight for integrity would endure, carried by his team, soaring in every Firebird that pierced the sky, a testament to trust and excellence. Ethan's first day as brigadier general felt surreal, the single star on his uniform a testament to his journey. In the Pentagon, he oversaw training and safety policy, his reforms now shaping every Air Force squadron. The 89th's Firebird emblem sat on his desk, a constant reminder of Nellie's. He stayed in touch with his team, with Riley sending weekly updates. Mia was excelling as a test pilot, her innovations drawing Pentagon interest. Noah's training program was producing elite pilots, and Caleb's maintenance protocols were now Air Force doctrine. Lauren, commanding the 89th, invited Ethan to a base event, and he flew to Nellie's, eager to reconnect. The squadron greeted him like family, their Firebird jets gleaming on the flight line. During a ceremonial sortie, Ethan flew alongside Lauren and Dylan, their precision a living legacy. Post-flight, a rookie pilot, Lieutenant Emma Brooks, approached Ethan, thanking him for the safety culture that caught a jet flaw before her first solo. Ethan smiled, seeing his impact in her confidence. Back in D.C., Ethan faced a new challenge, a push to prioritize drones over manned fighters. He argued for balance, citing the 89th's human-driven success. Captain Ava Larson, now a major, backed him with data on pilot mental health, strengthening their case. The Air Force Chief of Staff sided with Ethan, preserving manned fighter programs. Ava's promotion to major was a proud moment, and Ethan mentored her through her first Pentagon briefing. A call from Zoe revealed she designed a new F-16 variant, incorporating Ethan's safety protocols. "It's got a Firebird decal," she said, laughing. Ethan's heart swelled. At Nellie's, Lauren reported that the 89th was invited to lead a NATO exercise, a first for the squadron. Ethan flew out to observe, watching Mia and Noah shine under Lauren's command. The exercise was flawless, earning international praise. Back in D.C., Ethan pushed for global adoption of his reforms, using the 89th's NATO success as leverage. He clashed with a new budget hawk, Colonel Ryan Tate, who echoed Hayes's cost-cutting mindset. Ethan outmaneuvered him with evidence, securing funding for training. That night, he got a video from Riley, the 89th dedicating a hangar mural to Ethan, the Firebird soaring over a desert sky. Tears pricked his eyes. From Grayson's betrayal to the Thunderbird near-miss, Ethan had fought for integrity, transforming the Air Force. His team, Mia, Noah, Caleb, Zoe, Lauren, Dylan, and Ava, carried his vision. At a Pentagon dinner, the Chief of Staff toasted Ethan's impact. As he worked late, drafting a global safety accord, Ethan glanced at the Firebird emblem. The 89th was his foundation, their trust his strength. The Pentagon's weight couldn't dim his purpose. Ethan knew his fight would continue, ensuring every pilot flew safe, guided by the Firebird spirit, soaring through skis he'd made safer and stronger. The Pentagon's corridors echoed with Ethan's influence as his safety accord gained global traction. NATO allies adopted the 89th's protocols, citing their success in the recent exercise. Ethan, now a brigadier general, felt the weight of his role but carried it with the same resolve that defined his Nellie's days. His Firebird emblem remained his anchor, a reminder of the squadron he'd transformed. Riley's updates from Nellie's were a lifeline. Lauren's command was ironclad, Mia's test pilot work was groundbreaking, and Noah's trainees were setting records. Caleb's maintenance team mentored international crews, spreading Ethan's standards. Zoe's new F-16 variant with its Firebird decal was in trials, drawing Air Force buzz. In D.C., Major Ava Larson pushed Ethan's mental health program, reducing pilot burnout across bases. But a new challenge loomed. Colonel Ryan Tate proposed slashing maintenance budgets, claiming drones made manned jets obsolete. Ethan countered with data from Zoe's trials, showing the F-16's enduring value. He flew to Nellie's to gather real-time evidence, joining a sortie with Lauren and Mia. The 89th's precision silenced doubters, their Firebirds soaring in perfect sync. Back in D.C., Ethan presented the data, outmaneuvering Tate. The budget was preserved, and Ava's program got a funding boost. Ethan mentored Ava through her growing influence, seeing her as a future general. Nellie's visit brought Ethan face-to-face with Emma Brooks, the rookie whose jet was saved by his protocols. She'd earned her wings, dedicating her first solo to Ethan. The squadron threw a barbecue, with Dylan leading a toast to the man who changed us. Ethan, humbled, credited his team. A call from Mitchell revealed Ethan was shortlisted for a second star, a rare honor. She hinted at a return to Nellie's as base commander. Ethan considered it, torn between DC's impact and the 89th's call. During a Pentagon briefing, he shared the Thunderbird incident, inspiring younger officers. Ava, now a rising star, echoed his call for integrity. Tate's influence waned, his proposals rejected. Ethan's reforms were now global, with Zoe's F-16 variant adopted by 3 allies. At a NATO summit, Ethan presented the 89th's model, earning a standing ovation. Back in D.C., he got a package from the 89th, a custom Firebird patch signed by Lauren, Mia, Noah, Caleb, Dylan, and Emma. Ethan pinned it to his uniform, wearing it proudly. Late at night, drafting a policy to integrate drones with manned fighters, Ethan glanced at his Firebird emblem. Grayson's betrayal, the Thunderbird near miss, and the 89th's rebirth had led here. His team's trust, Mia's leadership, Noah's mentorship, Caleb's precision, Zoe's innovation, Lauren's command, Ava's advocacy, fueled him. The Pentagon was his cockpit now, but the 89th's spirit soared within him. As dawn broke, Ethan knew his fight for safer skies would endure, carried by the Firebird, a legacy of integrity that would outlast any challenge. Ethan's second star as Major General came with a new assignment, overseeing Air Force operations across the Pacific. The Pentagon celebrated his promotion, but the Firebird emblem on his desk kept him tethered to the 89th. His safety accord was now global, with Zoe's F-16 variant deployed in Japan and South Korea. Mia, Noah, Caleb, Lauren, and Dylan sent a video from Nellie's, their cheers echoing through his office. Major Ava Larson, now leading mental health initiatives, was Ethan's D.C. legacy, her reforms saving pilots from burnout. In Hawaii, Ethan's new base, he faced a complex theater, rising tensions, aging fleets, and budget constraints. He applied the 89th's model, prioritizing safety and training. His first act was auditing Pacific squadrons, uncovering maintenance lapses reminiscent of Grayson's era. Ethan worked with local commanders, implementing Caleb's protocols. Results were swift. Incident rates dropped and morale soared. Back at Nellie's, Lauren reported the 89th's latest triumph, a perfect score in a NATO audit. Mia's test pilot work was revolutionizing F-16 designs, and Noah's trainees were deployed to Europe. Zoe's variant with its Firebird decal was a global hit. Emma Brooks, now a seasoned pilot, led a new safety initiative inspired by Ethan. In D.C., Ava clashed with a new budget hawk, Colonel Ian Holt, who echoed Tate's cost-cutting. Ethan advised her remotely, sharing strategies from his Grayson battles. Ava prevailed, securing funding for her programs. Ethan flew to Nellie's for a Thunderbird airshow, joining Lauren and Mia in the cockpit. The 89th's Firebirds flew alongside the Thunderbirds, a nod to Ethan's defining moment. Post-flight, he met Emma, who thanked him for her career. "Your fight gave me wings," she said. Ethan, moved, saw his legacy in her eyes. A Pacific crisis tested Ethan, a near collision between a U.S. F-16 and a foreign jet. He led the investigation, uncovering pilot error due to outdated training. Ethan pushed for NOAA's methods to be adopted Pacific-wide, preventing future incidents. The Air Force Chief of Staff praised his decisiveness, hinting at a third star. Back in Hawaii, Ethan mentored a young commander, Captain Leela Chen, who reminded him of Mia. Leela embraced his reforms, turning her squadron into a Pacific 89th. At a Pentagon summit, Ethan presented his Pacific strategy, weaving in the Thunderbird incident to underscore integrity. Ava, now a lieutenant colonel, joined him, her mental health program a global model. As he worked late, Ethan got a call from Lauren. The 89th was naming a training facility after him. Tears welled as he pictured the Firebird mural. From Grayson's betrayal to global reform, Ethan had reshaped the Air Force. His team, Mia, Noah, Caleb, Zoe, Lauren, Emma, Ava, and Leela, carried his vision. The Pacific sky glowed as Ethan reviewed his next policy, the Firebird emblem his guide. His fight for safer, stronger skis continued, a legacy soaring through every jet that bore the 89th spirit. Ethan's Pacific command stretched his leadership to new heights. From Hawaii, he oversaw squadrons across Japan, Guam, and South Korea, each facing unique challenges. His safety reforms, born from the 89th's Firebird legacy, were now Air Force gospel, but implementing them in diverse theaters tested his resolve. A Japanese squadron reported maintenance delays, echoing Grayson's negligence. Ethan flew to Misawa, working with Captain Leela Chen to overhaul their protocols. Using Caleb's methods, they slashed errors by 30%, earning Leela a commendation. In Nellie's, Lauren shared that the 89th training facility, named for Ethan, was inspiring rookies. Mia's F-16 variant was now standard in NATO, and Noah's trainees were leading Pacific missions. Zoe, back from test pilot duties, was designing a new jet, her Firebird decal a global icon. Emma Brooks, now a captain, led safety drills with Ethan's precision. In D.C., Ava Larson's mental health program was saving careers, her promotion to colonel imminent. Ethan mentored her via video calls, sharing tactics to navigate Pentagon politics. A new crisis emerged. A Guam squadron's near miss during a joint exercise with South Korea. Ethan led the investigation, uncovering outdated radar systems. He pushed for upgrades, using Zoe's designs as a model. The Air Force approved, and Ethan's reputation as a problem solver grew. Back in Hawaii, he faced resistance from a senior officer, General Mark Vaughn, who prioritized readiness over safety. Ethan saw Grayson's shadow in Vaughn's arrogance. He presented data from the 89th's turnaround, swaying Vaughn's peers. The general backed down, and Ethan's upgrades rolled out. At Nellie's, Riley sent a photo of the 89th's latest airshow, their Firebirds dazzling alongside Thunderbirds. Lauren hinted at Ethan's potential return as base commander. He considered it, but his Pacific role felt vital. During a Tokyo summit, Ethan shared his vision for integrated man-drone operations, citing Mia's innovations. NATO allies adopted his plan, and the Air Force Chief of Staff floated a third star. Ethan stayed humble, crediting his team. A call from Ava revealed she'd shut down Colonel Holt's latest budget cuts, using Ethan's strategies. "You taught me to fight smart," she said. In Hawaii, Ethan flew with Leela's squadron, their jets sporting Firebird decals in his honor. Post-flight, Leela shared how his reforms saved her unit from a maintenance scandal. Ethan saw the 89th spirit in her eyes. Late at night, reviewing a Pacific training policy, Ethan glanced at his Firebird emblem. Grayson's betrayal, the Thunderbird near miss, and the 89th's rebirth had led to this, a global legacy of safety and trust. His team, Mia, Noah, Caleb, Zoe, Lauren, Emma, Ava, and Leela, carried it forward. The Pacific sky glowed as Ethan worked, knowing his fight for integrity had reshaped air forces worldwide. The Firebird soared in every jet, a testament to his unwavering commitment to excellence and justice. Ethan's Pacific command solidified as his reforms transformed squadrons from Guam to South Korea. In Japan, Captain Leela Chen's unit became a model, mirroring the 89th's precision. Ethan's safety protocols, inspired by the Firebird incident, cut incidents across the region by 40%. At Nellie's, Lauren's leadership kept the 89th at the forefront, with Mia's F-16 variant now a global standard. Noah's trainees led NATO missions, and Caleb's maintenance methods were taught at Air Force academies. Zoe, back at Nellie's, designed a drone integration system, her Firebird decal a badge of pride. Emma Brooks, now a rising star, mentored rookies with Ethan's ethos. In D.C., Ava Larson's mental health program was mandatory, her colonel rank confirmed. Ethan guided her through a Pentagon clash with General Mark Vaughn, who pushed for risky training shortcuts. Ethan flew to D.C., presenting 89th data to shut Vaughn down. The Chief of Staff praised Ethan, confirming his third star as Lieutenant General. Back in Hawaii, Ethan faced a new challenge: a Chinese jet's aggressive maneuver near a U.S. F-16. He led a diplomatic response, using his reforms to strengthen training for such encounters. The crisis de-escalated, earning Ethan international respect. At Nellie's, Riley shared that the 89th was hosting a global safety summit, with Lauren inviting Ethan as keynote speaker. He flew out, reuniting with Mia, Noah, Caleb, Emma, and Lauren. The summit showcased the Firebird legacy, with Zoe presenting her drone system. Ethan's speech, weaving the Thunderbird incident into a call for integrity, moved the audience. Lauren whispered, "You're our North Star." Ethan, humbled, credited,